Welcome back to What's Up on KWAT. Did you know, Randy Grimes, that the month of March is National Athletic Training Month?
I do now, yes.
You do now?
Yes.
Good. All right. We've got some trainers. If we pull a hamstring in the next 25 minutes, we're in good shape.
All right.
And
Stretch first.
pulling a hamstring at our age can happen from getting up out of the recliner to walking to the refrigerator. Oh, what was that?
Yeah.
All right. Faith Tyler, Jodi DeVaal, and Sam Cappadora are all here this morning. They're all athletic trainers. Thank you all for coming in. Faith, we're going to start with you. Faith, good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in athletic training.
I was an athlete all throughout high school. I didn't have an athletic trainer though, and then I was an athlete in college, and my athletic trainer just helped me through a lot of things, mentally and physically, and I just wanted to be able to be that person for someone and see kids through rehabs and help them through injuries and whatever else I can help them with.
Okay. Tell me where you went to high school and college.
I graduated from Wagner High School here in South Dakota, and then I went to Dakota Wesleyan University and played volleyball there.
All right. So what sports did you play?
I played volleyball, basketball, and then I did track as well.
Wow, you were active.
Yes.
So when you went to college, you knew that you wanted to continue being an athlete, but start on the road toward a career of athletic training?
Yeah, I knew that obviously I'm not going to go be playing professional volleyball or anything, but I wanted to be around athletics for the rest of my life, and this kind of just got my foot in the door, and then I found out that I love still being on the sidelines and being with the athletes every day.
Now, you're employed by Prairie Lakes, but you're an athletic trainer for Watertown high school teams?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, which teams are you involved with from an athletic training standpoint?
I am with every sport. Right now, basketball is just wrapped up, and we're starting track, softball, boys tennis, and boys golf, or girls golf, but I've worked with every team so far this year.
Boy, you're busy.
Yeah,
huh?
It's been a busy year.
Do the athletic trainer needs vary from sport to sport in terms of what issues from football compared to basketball, for example?
Yeah, each sport's a little different in their own way. They do different movements and cause different injuries, and boys and girls are also built different, so you get different injuries based on that aspect. And football, you have 80 guys on a roster, and you go to a tennis roster and it's 15. So you just get a little different between each sport, each gender. And
how do you diagnose what an injury is?
that's what a lot of our schooling is. You have to learn all the muscles and all the ligaments and tendons in the body, and then you learn how to stress those and move those around to see where the injury's at or where the problem's at.
When you say stress those, what do you mean by that?
You can lengthen it to put a little more stress on that muscle. So like with your biceps, if you straighten your arm out, or your elbow out, then that's going to lengthen the biceps. And then you can see if there's an injury problem there by making them flex it.
She wants to move the body part until she hears the athlete say, ow, that hurts.
Pretty
right?
much.
and then you've identified the problem.
Yes.
So once you identify the problem, walk me through the process of how you work with that athlete and that injury to try and get them healthy again.
So then we come up with the plan of care, which can range anything from we're working on stretching and mobility to we're going to go through a full rehab program, which will include that stretching, mobility, strengthening, and then return to play. And we can deal with anything from ankle sprains to concussions to people who just had their ACL repaired. So it is different for every athlete and every injury.
Cool. How long have you been at Watertown, with the Watertown Arrows?
This year is my first year with them.
And you were with the football team?
Yep, I was.
So she shows up in town and the Arrows win a state championship in football. How fun was that?
That was pretty awesome. One of the coolest moments of my life, which is really cool to say that I got to be a part of that.
Do you feel like you're part of the team?
Yeah, the coaches and the boys all embraced me this year. I was brand new and didn't know how that would go over, but I was welcomed with open arms, and the boys were telling me that I have to get my ring too, that I was just as much of the team as anybody else.
Tell me about what you want to do going forward here. Do you want to stay in Watertown? Do you have aspirations of trying to move up the athletic trainer ladder, if there's such a thing?
Yeah, I think it changes every week, honestly. I have grown to love Watertown, though. I grew up in southeastern South Dakota, so I didn't know how I would deal with this northern South Dakota winter. But I'm loving it here, and I don't see myself leaving for at least a little while.
That's awesome. Do you still play sports intramural or just for fun to try and keep yourself active?
Yep, I still do some volleyball. I help with camps and stuff too, just to keep me active. But I do play with a few girls on an intramural volleyball team.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, Faith.
Nice to meet you as
And
well.
thanks for dropping in. Let's talk to Jodi next. Jodi DeVaal. Hi, Jodi.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Where are you from?
Millbank, South Dakota.
The Millbank Bulldogs. Where'd you go to school?
SDSU.
Go
Jackrabbits.
Jacks.
Yeah.
They've got a women's basketball team that's pretty good.
Yeah, they are.
Aren't they? So tell us how you got into athletic training.
So I also did sports in high school. I was pretty injury prone, so we had someone come into our school once a week to help us through those injuries. So I just loved what she did for me, and I wanted to be that person for somebody else.
Injury prone. What did you hurt?
A little bit of everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Are some people just by nature more injury prone than others, do you think?
I think it depends on what you do outside of your sport. I would say if you would do some more stretching, strengthening, those type of things, like you would definitely help yourself out in that way. But I think it depends on how well you handle pain too. Like I could tolerate pain for quite a while before I would let it take me out of my sports, and I just put up with it. But some people just don't let that happen either.
How important is the stretching part of it before you go out and compete to basically get your body in a place where it can handle the stress and strain that you're going to put on it?
Yeah, so I think it's definitely beneficial to really go out and do that active warm-up, get your muscles ready to go, and know what your body needs. I always tell my athletes, I'm like, your body might need a little bit more or a little bit less than your next door neighbor. You're not all the same. Yes, you can all do the same warm-up, but just know that your body might need a little bit more. And so it's not even just the before, it's also the after, like doing some stuff after you get done doing that activity and being able to know what your body needs after activity to help you recover.
I didn't ask you what sports you play.
So I did tennis and gymnastics.
So in my notes here, Jodi, it mentions that you're an athletic trainer for Castlewood, Hamlin, Willow Lake, and Clark.
Yep.
So you have the capability of being in two places at once then, maybe, huh?
Not always. Sometimes we have to rely on my coworkers as well to help me out with that. But it's the time management is definitely a huge factor when you're covering that many schools.
Wow. How do you know on what day where you're going to go?
I live by my planner. It tells me where I need to go, when I need to go there. But typically I have one day set out for each school, and then the rest of the week depends on where my games are at.
Do you travel with the teams too?
I am not fortunate enough to always travel. Postseason I can have that ability, but during the season I'm generally pretty booked at home events.
Are you a trainer for all the different sports at these schools?
Yep.
Which sport do you see having to deal with the most injuries? Is there one?
It depends. The beginning of football is generally pretty busy, and then the beginning of track is generally pretty busy. I've been fortunate enough for basketball so far to have pretty minimal injuries and letting my kids stay on the court.
Where do you want to go with your career?
I personally wanted to stay in high schools in the first place. So, like, just staying within a high school, like, I actually love my kids and don't really want to leave any of them at any point. But, like, every athlete deserves their own athletic trainer. So if we're fortunate enough to get to that point where each school can have their own athletic trainer, that would be my goal.
That's interesting. Randy, when you were at Bristol High School back in the day, nothing here. I
You
went to high
relied on
school
your
and
coach to say, okay, do jumping jacks and stretch, and that was it.
yeah, you could be borderline losing a limb, and there was nobody there to help you.
That's
But
it.
how common is it now for high schools to have athletic trainers?
So most of the AA schools have their own athletic trainer, if not two. And then it's starting to become more popular that the A and B schools are getting them. It's just a matter of how often that they're there.
Yeah, awesome. Good to meet you.
You too.
Thanks for coming in, Jodi.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Sam Cappadora. Sam, good morning.
Good morning.
She's the athletic trainer for the Shamrocks.
Oh, all right.
Hockey players are some of the toughest human beings on the planet, aren't they, Sam?
They are a different breed, that's for sure.
Yes,
A
they
different
are.
breed. And she says that in a good way,
Yes,
a
I do.
complimentary way. Tell us, Sam, about yourself, where you're from.
I'm originally from Granton, Wisconsin, which is a small farm town in the center of the state. And then I went to school at University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point. and now here I am.
How did you land in Watertown?
So I graduated from my master's program at Stevens Point last year, and for part of my clinical rotation, I was fortunate enough to get in touch with an alumni from Stevens Point who works in juniors hockey, and I got to spend 6 months with him last year and working juniors hockey, and I fell in love with it. Just the sport of hockey is fun in general. It's pretty upbeat, and you see a lot of stuff, especially from the athletic training point of view. And because of that experience, I was able to get my foot in the door. And when I found out that the Shamrocks were becoming a team, I reached out, and here we are.
Awesome. That's awesome. What are some of the common hockey injuries that you see?
So it very much depends on your team. It definitely changes a lot. This year, unfortunately, I've seen a pretty large number of concussions. Knee injuries are pretty common. Hip injuries are pretty common. Shoulders, a lot of just more of your traumatic injuries as compared to like just generic overuse injuries, but you also get those as well. So it's head to toe, you see everything.
Sure. How do you diagnose a concussion?
We have a set protocol in place between myself and the hospital system, and I go through that, and then it depends on the athletes. I have my set protocol, and it's also just I'm with these athletes every day, so I'm able to like understand what's normal for them and what's not, and then just go from there. Everyone's different.
So if a player has an injury and they're out for a while, are you also involved in rehab work then to try and get them healthy enough where they can get back out on the ice?
Yes, for sure. For the most part, injuries are going through me. If I need to send them to see a doctor, then I also do that. But as soon as they see the doctor, I'm in contact with that physician, and the boys, they come back to me, and I take care of their rehab for the most part, unless they have a really big injury that I need to send them for PT for. But even with that, I'm in contact with the physical therapists as well. So pretty much everything goes through me.
Is there ever a scenario where a player has been injured, he's been rehabbing, and he's chomping at the bit to get back, and you're running him through a series of tests, and you're saying, sorry, you're not quite ready yet? Does that happen?
Yeah, for sure. As we said earlier, hockey players are their own thing, so they all never like to be told to stay off the ice. But it's just working between me and the athlete and just being like, this is what I know that you need to be able to do before you can get back on that ice. And if you can't do that, then you can't go back. Mm-hmm. I need to know that you can handle not only taking hits, but you also need to be able to do something simple as skating. If you can't skate, then you can't go play. If you can't take a hit, then you can't go play. I need to be comfortable that they are able to go back to their full potential.
I would think you would have to have a really good open line of communication with the coaching staff too, because they're going to come to you and they're going to say, player whatever, how's he doing? When can I expect him back? That kind of thing. Timelines.
Yes, for sure. With this being a new team this year, we were all in the same boat. We were all learning how to work with each other and then to organize just the whole team. And fortunately enough, I have been able to work with a pretty great staff with the team. There's a great open line of communication between me and my coaches, and they trust in my decisions and I trust in their decisions. They know that if I'm pulling somebody out, that I'm pulling them out for a good reason.
You travel with the team home and away. I'm guessing wherever they go, you're going with them, right?
Yep.
You getting used to long bus rides?
I am, yeah. We have some pretty long ones, especially up to Minot and Bismarck.
Yeah, Minot's like the edge of the world from here, it seems. Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty long one, that's for sure.
It is. What is it? And I assume, so you're riding the bus, you're around the team, the coaching staff, the players, maybe the only female on the bus, maybe, huh?
Yep.
What is it like being around a whole bunch of guys all the time for 12-hour bus rides? What's that like?
It's interesting, that's for sure. Like I said, I get along great with our coaching staff, which is good. I get along great with the kids. Sometimes they're a lot to handle, and sometimes it's just a grand old time. I'm just there for the ride.
You got to be their mom sometimes, probably, huh? And put them in their place?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I bet. Where do you want to go with your career?
This is my first year as a certified. As I said, I just graduated last year, and I'm happy with where I am right now. Like, I have a great support system through the team and through the healthcare system, and right now I'm just happy to be where I am.
Sounds like you like Watertown, too.
I do. It's a great town.
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
You as well.
I got another question for you. And now with the upcoming off season, what are your plans then between seasons, what are you going to do?
For me, I get to help out these lovely ladies.
Okay.
They get to boss me around pretty much. I'll help out with the strength and conditioning camps that they have this summer, and I'll still be in town and be around. And then we'll have some hockey camps throughout the summer that I'll have to work as well. But I'm just going where I'm needed.
Now, you wouldn't do anything with the Lakers, would you? Just strictly
Watertown
Shamrocks?
Lakers.
That kind of depends on if they request my assistance
Okay.
for something. Right now, I'm just up in the air.
Okay.
Remember, Randy, a couple of days ago, we were talking about how more and more athletes today are becoming single sport athletes, focusing on one sport. So when the season ends, then it's strength and conditioning and working on skills for the next season to begin.
Yeah.
You know, there's really no off season for a lot of these athletes anymore.
That's true.
Yeah.
Plus, you'll have probably a whole new set of kids next year. It depends.
Yeah, we will get, we have some age out kids. We have some kids that will move up to the next level of juniors hockey. Some of the kids will come back, so I'll see some familiar faces, but it will be a lot of big changes next year.
As a new person in the organization and new to all these players and the coaches, did you feel coming in like you had to earn their respect or not?
I don't feel like I needed to earn their respect. I came in and my coaches were great with just welcoming me in, and it was just a matter of figuring out like how do we jive together, which I feel like off the bat was great. Like we work great together, and it was just figuring out how to listen to each other and how to work with each other.
Awesome. Yeah. Athletic trainers, they play a very important role
sure do.
behind the scenes.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is for sure. Thank you all for coming in. It was good to meet all of you.